Japan is in the midst of a population crisis.
Japan's fertility rate has hit an historic low.
Has lost population for 15 years running.
Recorded another steep drop in its population.
In order for a country's population to remain stable, assuming infant and child mortality rates are low, it needs to maintain a fertility rate of at least 2.1 births per woman. Japan's fertility rate fell below 2.1 in 1974 and has continued to decline over time. The Japanese government has been trying to address the problem for decades, but they haven't been able to reverse this trend. In 2022, the number of newborns in Japan fell below 800,000 for the first time since 1899. And in 2023, Japan's National Institute of Population and Social Security Research released their revised population projections, and they concluded that, quote, Japan's population is projected to decrease by 30%, and the population aged 65 and over to make up about 40% of the population by 2070. End quote. And that report may be fairly optimistic in hindsight, as the fertility rate has declined even faster than they projected. However, even if Japan's situation is worse than most, it's not alone.
This is part of a global trend that we're seeing in all advanced economies and a lot of developing economies too.
In the United Nations 2022 World Population Prospects, they noted that 2/3 of the world's population live in countries with a fertility rate below 2.1, and both Europe and North America were projected to see population declines in the 2030s. That being said, while this depopulation trend isn't limited to Japan, there are elements of it that are fairly unique to the country. One example of that is marriage and its relation to fertility rates. In Japan, the overwhelming majority, around 98%, of children are born to married couples. When compared to other countries in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, Japan had the lowest percentage of births that took place outside of marriage. On average, 42% of births in OECD countries occurred outside of marriage, compared to Japan's 2%. As you may have guessed, the number of marriages has been falling alongside the fertility rate. Even with the national government's increased focus on this issue in the 2020s, local governments have also gotten involved. While many primarily use financial incentives to entice couples to have children, others decided to approach the problem from a slightly different angle. On February 7, 2023, an interesting item popped up in the Aichi Prefecture's initial budget. In Section 4.5, item number 13, they had allocated funds to cover, quote, expenses for projects to address the declining birth rate, end quote. And they plan to tackle this issue by hosting matchmaking events. More details would be revealed on July 31st, during a press conference held by Hideaki Omura, the prefecture's governor. And the first item on his agenda was the matchmaking event. Quote, first of all, we would like to talk about recruiting participants for the large-scale matchmaking at Morikoro Park event. Our prefecture is currently facing a very serious problem of a declining birth rate, and as a measure to combat the trend of people not getting married or marrying later in life, which is thought to be one of the major factors behind this, we will be holding a large-scale matchmaking event in October with a capacity of 400 people in order to create a place for people hoping to get married to meet each other. We are pleased to announce that we will start accepting applications for this event tomorrow, Tuesday, August 1st. There is a need for efforts to support marriage throughout society, and according to a survey of prefectural residents conducted by our prefecture, about 83% of single people answered that they intended to get married someday, but the most common reason for remaining single was that they had not yet met the person they want to marry, suggesting that there are few opportunities to meet people. I think this tendency has been particularly pronounced due to COVID-19, so I would like to create a place for people to meet in this way, end quote. The event would take place in Morikoro Park, but that location was known by a couple of other names. Its official title is Expo 2005 Aichi Commemorative Park, but most people probably know it as Ghibli Park. Within Morikoro Park, there are several sections designed to look like Studio Ghibli films, and those sections were revealed to the public at the end of 2022. Taking advantage of the local attraction, the matchmaking event appeared to adopt a Studio Ghibli theme. The event was scheduled to take place on October 7th and would have a maximum capacity of 400 people, 200 men and 200 women. If the number of applicants was greater than 400, a lottery would be used to select the participants. Singles between the ages of 20 and 39 who lived, worked, or studied in the prefecture would be eligible. However, while the event itself was completely free, you wouldn't be able to just show up. Attendees would have to attend a virtual seminar and complete at least 2 of the 6 offered courses. There would be beginner and advanced versions of the following 3 lessons: communication course for marriage hunting, fashion lessons to make a good impression, and mental preparation for marriage hunting. And the latter 2 courses would be taught by a professional love consultant. Attendees would also have to complete 2 surveys, one on the day of the event and a follow-up a few months later. As for the event itself, after a short registration and orientation period, there would be 5 activities. The first one was called Ghibli's Forgotten Things, a scavenger hunt where groups would try to locate 15 Ghibli-themed items hidden around the park. The next activity was a group quiz about the Aichi Prefecture. Third on the list was Dice Talk, a game where you'd roll dice and answer questions based on the number you got. Questions would range from what is your favorite Ghibli work to where did you go on your school trip. The fourth activity was a number hunting game, where you'd have to interact with people based on a number that each person was randomly assigned, and you close out the day by completing the post-event survey. The application window is from August 1st to September 18th, and participants would be selected on September 21st. Applications started coming in at a steady rate, and they crossed the 400 mark on July 8th, meaning that participants would be selected by lottery. And the applications didn't stop coming. On September 19th, the day after the application window closed, the event's website announced that they had received 2,249 applications, 1,175 from men, and 1,074 from women. The matchmaking event turned out to be way more popular than anyone expected. In a statement to Medici on the 21st, the same day the lottery results were sent out, an event representative stated, quote, "We're surprised. Perhaps the novelty of holding a large-scale event with 400 people attracted interest, or perhaps it was just that many people were looking for a place to meet people." End quote. The event appears to have taken place without any major issues, although some people couldn't make it, so only 382 people attended the event. Out of those who attended, 378 filled out the post-event survey, and most people viewed it positively. 75% of respondents were either satisfied or very satisfied with their experience. 81% of respondents either had a good encounter or were able to exchange contact information, and 94% of them would be willing to participate in another prefecture-sponsored matchmaking event. The follow-up survey results were released in January 2024. They only got 148 people to respond to the follow-up, but there were an equal number of men and women as well as 2 people who decided not to answer. 65% of them made contact with the people they exchanged information with at the matchmaking event, but only 39% of them actually met. But some meaningful relationships did form. 10 people, or 7% of respondents, said that they did develop a relationship with the person they met at the event. Although they dropped the Ghibli theme, the Aichi Prefectural Government's matchmaking events are still going strong, and the 2025 event is right around the corner.